Well, folks, we have yet another former lawyer for Donald Trump, one of the architects of the 2020 attempt to steal the election from the rightfully elected president, Joe Biden, that has now lost their license to practice law. This time, it is Kenneth Chesebro who now joins the ranks of people like John Eastman and Rudy Giuliani, with no longer being able to practice law in the area where they live and practice law. Kenneth Chesebro, of course, was one of the few people who actually pleaded guilty to racketeering in Georgia, the charges, of course, that had been brought by Fani Willis. And now, of course, the courts in Georgia say Fani Willis, cannot oversee this. No way, no how. So the rest of the charges are probably going to go away. So Kenneth Chesebro pleading guilty to this. Yes, I believe he's guilty as hell and they should all go to jail for it. But it's kind of funny that he was immediately like, I'll turn on everybody. And now everybody else is probably going to get off with it. And you're the one that's going to suffer. But that hilarity aside, it is relevant to him losing his law license because the U.S. District Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia announced this week in a motion against Chesebro. Ordered on the court's own motion that Kenneth John Chesebro be suspended from the practice of law before this court. Further ordered, on the court's own motion, that this matter be referred to the court's Committee on Admissions and Grievances for a recommendation to the court on the extent of the final discipline to be imposed as a result of the conduct resulting in the conviction. So, because you're an admitted criminal, you're not going to practice law. And we don't know how long you're not going to practice law. It could be forever. It could be, 6 years, which is actually pretty standard. So we'll see. But it's all because you admitted you committed the crime, and we all know you kind of did it. So yeah, you're done for. Rudy Giuliani is done for. John Eastman is done for. I think Jenna Ellis was suspended for a year. A lot of these folks, and others have, of course, been sanctioned and reprimanded, including Alina Habba, who wasn't even involved in the 2020 stuff. She was sanctioned for other crap she did for Trump. So all of these people who threw in their lot with Donald Trump on legal issues have been punished. And of course, some of them were punished and then rewarded with spots in the administration, like Alina Habba. Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, was not ever punished. He kind of dipped out before any punishments were, necessary for him. But this is a warning. It's a warning to all of those lawyers in the DOJ. Yesterday we had Trump come out and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, where they were like, oh, we're going to start prosecuting people on the left because they're all terrorists. Reporters asked, well, who? And they had no idea. They had no idea what they were even saying when they were pressed on it, but they're going to do it. They did it to James Comey. I have no sympathy for him, but he shouldn't have been targeted because Trump hates him, right? But the lawyers who do this, the lawyers at the DOJ that are going after these Trump people, you're signing your own retirement papers, basically. You will likely lose your law license over this. You've already been warned by former DOJ employees, which I talked about on Fair and Balanced this week, that you need to go ahead and get malpractice insurance because you guys are going to get sued to hell and back. Your life, your ability to practice law, most of these folks relatively, young or at least middle-aged lawyers who could have a long career ahead of them, you're kneecapping yourselves by following along with these horrible, potentially illegal orders from Pam Bondi and Donald Trump. You're going to lose everything. Don't believe us? Go look at Kenneth Chesebro. Go look at John Eastman. Go look at Sidney Powell. Go look at Rudy Giuliani. Go look at Jenna Ellis. The list is almost endless, folks. Bad things happen to lawyers who stick by Donald Trump. And if you don't want to believe any of those people, Michael Cohen is also somebody you can check with. Of course, he has turned himself around and that's great. But again, there's so many lawyers that have ended up in hell because of following Donald Trump's orders. And there's only one or two that haven't for following Trump's orders. So you can gamble. Maybe you'll be the third over here, but much more likely, you're going to end up in this big old pile of garbage, and Donald Trump will do nothing to save you. He hasn't saved any of these people. He hasn't even attempted to. He doesn't care. you will go down and you will land on that pile of trash and just become another one in that long, ever-growing list.